you, Doctora and Ate Christina, because you're the ones who always see these people. Maybe for Boksu also,
Boksu too,
for
yes,
those who go to you to seek counsel. How are you? I mean, with every single day that you see maybe, I don't know, 20, 30 people seeking counsel, seeking medical help, how do you cope as a counselor, as a pastor, as a medical practitioner, sa daming ng mga problemang sinishare sa inyo? Then how are you emotionally? How do you stand your ground? Maybe you can start, Doctora.
Ganda. Thank you for asking that, because not a lot of people ask how like Boksu are, or how counselors are, how psychiatrists are. No? So parang, of course, we are also humans, no?
Yes.
And definitely I get tired. I wanna say that. There are okay days, there are not so good days as well. Kaya important din what Jen said, the self-awareness, no? The awareness of your bandwidth, the awareness of your health. Sometimes, di ba, pag kunwari ho, mas absent ka.
Yeah.
Or kunwari, emotionally, you're undergoing through something, maybe a family crisis as well. You can also like take the time to step back a bit. So for me, it's also a learning process. Dati, I was just so dead tired inside. Like parang seeing 22 patients, parang dump. Parang after, parang na ako na-rape internally, parang ganon. So, sabi ko parang, hala, hindi to sustainable kasi bukas ganito. Bukas ganito, parang I'm not living as well. So, parang na-realize ko na I also have to put corners and boundaries. So, yun, take care of my physical health, no? Sabi ni Ate, yung nutrition, diet, exercise. Nagtitry ako minsan mag-Muay Thai, mag-boxing. Also, sharing to one or two persons, no? Na parang ako yung nakakapag-share naman ako. Ganyan. And then sometimes I also need, like, kasi introvert, no? I need my time of quiet. So a full day na parang interact. Sometimes I just want to sleep or sleep or play with my dog, ganyan. Ganon. And of course, isa rin sa tinatry ko gawin bago mag-start ng, for example, duties or responsibilities or patience, to like have a time with him, no? Kasi parang doon ako kukuha na, Lord, ikaw na lang manguna, ikaw magsabi, ikaw ganyan. So yun, pero not every day nagagawa yun lahat, but as I'm able.
Thank you. Ate Christina.
Well, Doctora talks about self-care and boundaries, which is very, very important. Boundaries is also defined as where do I begin and end, and where does my client starts, and ends. So that psychological boundary is very important. What does it mean? We empathize, but we have to know we should not lose our self-differentiation.
Tama.
Okay? So we empathize with our client, but we should remember that that's a struggle, a pain, not yours. You don't carry it with you.
Right.
So a lot of my students were saying, Mom, I do not know how to do that, If I hear people's, sharing their problems, I go home, I bring their problem with me. You cannot survive like that, because it's their struggles, their issues, it's not yours, okay? Number two, what helped me a lot in my practice, other than practicing self-care, is understanding that even though I do counseling and I teach counseling at ATS, my primary identity is still a pastor. I still see myself as being called to be a pastor. It just so happened that, I have training in counseling, right? In marriage and family counseling as well. But understanding that it's not my job to solve their problems.
Right.
It's not my job to make them happy, If you have a messianic complex, it becomes a very different ball game.
That's true.
You feel like you have to see change, effect change, But counseling is not like that. Counseling is committing oneself to understand the person, where he or she is coming, entering into their emotional world, however messy, chaotic it is, but just willing to enter into their world to understand what it means to experience all these adverse experiences in life, understand the patterns of behavior, and you can see their blind spot, you point out to them and support them there. Give them the necessary skills they need, the perspective they need, to help them. And as a pastor, it's always very liberating to know that I'm not entering into the counseling room alone.
Yeah.
I always say, Lord, I'm gonna meet this person in an hour. You have to go inside with me. Okay? The fact that God brings this person to me, there's something that the Lord wants to achieve.
Yeah.
What is that? I do not know. But making myself available and allowing the Holy Spirit to work through me is very important. So we have to train. We train ourselves one ear to learn to listen. Another ear is to listen to the Holy
Yeah.
Spirit's gentle voice. Sometimes, you reach what you call a fork, a junction. No, you reach a junction. Should you take this direction or should you take this direction? And a lot of times, the Holy Spirit would just prod you to take a certain direction, and only to realize that that was the right direction. So when you see it as a partnership with the Holy Spirit, it makes the load much lighter.
Yeah.
Because the responsibility lies heavily more on God than on ourselves.
Yeah. Yes,
wanna
Doc,
add
sige.
also. What's helping me also daily is I remind myself na there's a God and I'm not it. And carry what's mine to carry lang. And kunwari at the end of a long day, I make parang naglalagay ng period or an end. Like, tapos na, I'll make pagpag, ganyan.
Yeah.
Or, keep the day's burden lang. Parang, if that's for the, bukas na yan,
Yeah.
bukas pa yan, ganyan.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, yun.
Sometimes kasi you cannot help it la. Sometimes people expect that you have all the answers. Alam bokso,
Hindi eh.
they expect bokso to know all the answers
Yeah.
to their questions, right? But we're not God, right? And we're not Madam Auring too, right? So we just honestly say that I wish I have answered to your questions, but I really do not know.
Right.
So knowing where our limitation is, our limit ito is very liberating, very
Yeah.
helpful.
Bokso.
Yeah. Medical doctors, they just need one act of compliance from the patient. One act. Take this medicine.
Yeah.
Now, if it's longer, it says, take this medicine for 30 days. Mas mahirap na yan. Because he might forget. He might refuse. holo eh. Counseling is very, very demanding because you're not looking for one act of compliance.
Tama.
Because they have to deal with it every day. It comes back. It comes back.
Yeah.
So it's so difficult. And a medical doctor talks to a patient, 5 minutes tapos na. But counselors and psychiatrists, they talk to you for 50 minutes. So the long hour is very draining because you have to be focused. You
Yes.
cannot lose track of what's
Correct.
going on, right?
Yeah.
But then the next one comes in, another 50. And all of them are long-term, not one act of compliance.
Yeah.
You're saying you should not do that, you should do this, then ang dami. So it's very demanding on this particular line of profession where you deal with psychological, not physiological. Physiological medicine, tapos na.
Yeah.
Diba? Wrong medicine, try this one. Pero counseling, psychiatric, talaga demanding. At the present time, I don't deal with very young patients. And I don't deal with very old patients either. So it's above high school age.
Yeah.
It's very demanding because I'm not a clinical person. So they come and expect that I can sit there for 3 hours. And normally I do. I stay with them.
Yeah.
And then after listening to the situation again and again, then you get a more complete picture.
Yeah.
I kind of realized that everything that his psychiatrist can do, he's already done. It's up to him to do it lang. But the psychiatrist solution is you go and do it alone. So what I did with this young patient is, okay, let's do this together every week.
Nice. Accountability.
Every week. But it's not just me. When he and I go there, there's another group. There's a bigger group.
Oh,
And I know this group will accept him because I know this group.
okay.
Because other groups probably will reject him right away
Okay.
because it's been many years na he had a condition. So last Sunday, I was speaking at Menuka. Is that,
Menuka.
yeah. So he texted me, should I go? I said, yeah, you should go. And so he says, okay, I'll go.
Nice.
Normally, if I don't go,
You will
Okay.
go.
Oh.
so
galing.
I'm doing something the psychiatrist will never do
Right.
because he's a professional.
Extra, ano.
Extra mile.
I'm gonna walk with him. So I told the
Yes.
parents, my solution is different from your psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Because your psychiatrist did all of this, right? Tama. And he's supposed to do this, right? Tama. And didn't work, right? Tama. Okay, let's try this one. So the father says, yes, I want to try that.
Ganda.
Dito kapikyan, walk with them. Because even though we are not the healer, we do want to see them healed.
Yes.
Who wants the patient to be forever a patient? Only those who are in it for the money. Tama? Lan siya, we want him to get well. So kung I'm willing to walk with you, let's go together. So we went together, and then sometimes I don't go. Si Hua, he will go. Then we go again. I make it irregular so that he's not fixated on me there all the time. And now he's saying, I will go. So I'm so happy.
Yay.
So like you say, the Lord works. We're not alone. The Lord is working in his heart. But the psychiatrist played his part, Lola.
Yeah.
He did a lot of analysis, and this young man already has seen a lot of these aspects that he did not see before. But I think that it's kauhya lang. He is like, because he cannot give anything more than that. So, look, we need a practical solution to take him out of his psychological prison
Yeah.
and let him merge again into the regular world.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So,
Oh, by the
apart
way,
from,
in the early years now, how come churches don't want the word counselors?
was there such a time?
Yes,
Please
there was a
enlighten
time
us.
when they don't like the word counselors. For them, the counselor is the guy who goes with you to the summer camp and leads your devotion for 5 days. That's the counselor.
Oh.
It's a group counselor, but not a medical or psychological counselor. Because in the 1960s and 70s, when you say going to a counselor, isu diu xiao, means you're mad. You're insane. Xiao eh, zao, like it's ani. So that's the stigma.
Yeah.
And that's why for a long time, counseling doesn't take off in Philippine churches, including Chinese Filipino
Feel
church.
shy
Yeah.
church.
If you go to a counselor, ay sira ka eh. So
Yeah, yeah.
parents don't want to send
Stigma.
their kids to counselors kasi boy kanchiwa eh pay. Takay kong hire usyaw ah.
Yeah.
So din simpu din chuan ke doon. So bolang kya.
Yeah, real talk.
Natawa si
yes.
Ate Christina.
Yung
That's
paya
so
niya.
true. That's so
And then
true.
eventually, the younger generation became educated in English. Tama? And some of them took up psychology. Tama? And then some of them eventually became parents. And then they're open to it.
Yeah.
So counseling became more respectable and acceptable.
Yeah.
But there are some circles which are fundamentalist Christians. So they believe that psychology belongs to the devil
Yeah.
and Bible belongs to God. And the two
Yeah,
are
they
different
compromise.
worlds.
Oh.
And so they don't call themselves counselors. They call themselves biblical counselors.
Biblical counselors, you always carry a Bible?
Because they want to emphasize that
Yes.
there's no psychology in it. It's all purely from the Bible. Whatever, I mean, their framework is purely biblical.
For them, secular psychology in the university is un-Christian or anti-Christian.
Oh.
So lan si biblical counseling.
Oh.
So lan si Bible-based ko. So Hikwan thinking si fundamentalist. And then there is the naturalist. naturalists, they only believe nature, no supernature. So for them, counseling is good, everything good. Bible bad because it's superstitious, kasi religion.
Oh.
So, yun ang extreme ko. And then there's the middle balance. So, si tama, dinekong ko. Lan si Christian psychiatrist, lan si Christian counselor or psychologist. So, ganun yan na. Naturalists, they will say, siday ginaka na aniya. Kasi soyhan, no, he abused. So, it's sapian aniya. Natural explanation.
Okay.
Na fundamentalist si Kongo, kanay na aniya. Kasi ukuy. You pray out the spirit. That's the spirit of lust. That's the spirit of simi whatever. Bible lang na. Di tiyo itaksiyang kyang na. Di kay kangto iye Jose la. And then there's the middle, which says that, yes, there was a trigger event in childhood, which is a case of sexual abuse. Natural yon, tama? It's a cause, not a solution. So what's the solution? Well, solution is suyaw counseling, prayer,
Yes.
church community,
Yes.
support group, family acceptance,
Yes.
solution. So secular psychology provides a lot of cause analysis, not COST, causation.
Causation.
Cause analysis. Kasi itiyang pai kiho lang iti pa. So tuahan ito pa lang. There's nothing spiritual or unspiritual about that.
Yeah.
It's just history, his personal history. Cause and effect lang yan. Di ba, ani ko? And then the solution na puro counseling ko, then maybe it's not so Christian. Pero na kung wow, counseling, wako Christian dimension na. So, para sa akin, okay yan. You're drawing from both worlds.
Yes,
It's just
yes.
like I'm a Christian, so in college, I only teach Christian mathematics. Kung paano yun? 1 plus 1 equals
God.
2 pa rin. So, if you
1 plus
remove the
1
word
is
Christian,
1.
1 plus 1, 2 pa rin.
One is equal to one.
Because math is universal. Whether you're a Christian or not, math is math.
Yeah.
Walang Christian math.
Yes.
There are Christian mathematicians, but there's no Christian math. Christian way of solving bola.
Yeah.
It's a simple mathematical operation. So I think today we are fortunate that we are in an age where people are more cognizant of
Yeah.
this balanced approach
Yeah.
and benefiting from the natural world that God created, but not godless philosophy.
Yes.
And then drawing from the spiritual resources that God gave to us through the Bible and the church community.
Right.
Correct.
So I think it's more balanced that way.
Yeah. Balance and holistic, no? Yeah. Thank you, Boksu. Thank you for joining us today in our discussion. We hope we were able to enlighten you in some of the issues you are currently facing. If you have any comments or suggestions, please drop us a note in the comment section below. We would also like to take this opportunity to invite you to come and worship with us every Sunday here at Jubilee Evangelical Church. We have English services at 8:30 a.m. and 10:30 a.m., Amoy service at 10:30 a.m., Taglish service at 2 p.m. You can also join us online through our FB and YouTube channels at 3 p.m. For more information, you can visit our website at jec.com.ph. Thank you and God bless us all.